Welcome everyone to DataDev Day in spring 23. We're super excited to have you here. We're very excited to have everyone online. I appreciate everyone's time. Before we begin, let's get some legal fun out of the way. We will be discussing, still working on the double click here. We'll be discussing future features and functionality. So let's remember, it's important to remember to make your purchasing decisions based on our existing portfolio and what's available today. Now that we got the lawyers off our back, I'd like to introduce myself. My name is Kevin Glover. I've been at Tableau for about 8 years now. When it was a young and sparkly-eyed engineer, fell in love with the Tableau sparkles and our mission of helping people see and understand our data. I'm a builder. I came in as an engineer. I like to build things with wood. Right now I'm live from my shop where I have a wood shop, metal shop. I just like to build things. So I came from our operations side when I joined the company, moved to engineering, product, now community. I've been doing a lot of things at Tableau and a lot of wealth of knowledge of the whole stack. So really excited to be here, really excited to talk to you all. But enough about me. Thank you, DataDevs. Ooh, we're gonna do the challenge with the double click here. I got notes, I got screen, okay. Thank you, DataDevs. I'm so excited. We have a great lineup of speakers and sessions today from all over the world. Internal folks, like my unicorn, Takashi Binns, we'll introduce him later. Amazing DataDev fam and DataDevs like Zach Geist and Anya Provich. Oh, Anya, I'm gonna butcher your last name. Provichtova. Thank you so much for taking time today and spending the time with us. We really appreciate your time. Let's get into it. At the core, we are a product that we love and know. And we'll be sharing some of the latest innovations that we have and what to build on the Tableau platform. And innovation has been at our core for the last 20 years. Every year, we deliver more and more capabilities to move our mission forward. We have capability to support analysts, consumers, and analytical consumers, developers, IT, and in fact, last year we launched more than 120 new capabilities. We delivered data stories, HIPAA certification, external actions. We have over 50 dashboard accelerators. We'll talk about a little bit of those in our Tableau Exchange. We have more than 20 new connectors that we're expanding out with our partner platform. We couldn't be more excited about what the future has in store. And in August 2019, Tableau joined forces with Salesforce, as many of you know. And this is Customer 360 of the Salesforce portfolio of products and services that help companies connect with their customers. The Customer 360 is powered by AI, and data is at the heart of the 360. And today, as customers are accelerating their digital transformations, they're generating more data than ever and creating a data transformation. And what do you need to have data? You need Tableau. Tableau is helping unlock the value of data in the Customer 360 so businesses can better connect with their customers. Salesforce unites companies to their customers. Tableau unites people with their data. Together, we're going to unite companies around their customer data. And one of the reasons Tableau and Salesforce are such a good match is because we both put our communities, our customers, at the center of our work. It's what fuels our momentum. It's what fuels us to drive this webinar, to talk with you every day, to go to our events. We love our customers. And of course, our community. In March, We reached 3 million profiles on Tableau Public, and there are over 7 million data visualizations created by all of you. In the DataDev community itself, we've surpassed 30,000 users. More than 2,000 of you are talking in our community Slack space. If you're not there yet, I'll show you how to get there in a bit. And there are over 500 user groups across 70 countries connecting virtually and in person. We cannot thank you enough for being part of the Data Fam. You push our products, you champion our culture, and you help people use Tableau to see and understand their data. So this is our mission. We help people see and understand their data every day. Our mission is all about helping you answer the questions and generate meaningful data. It's fundamentally about releasing the expertise and ingenuity inside of people everywhere so they can impact the world's most important causes. And together, we've made great progress in our mission, but there's still so many people that haven't used data, that aren't talking with data, aren't using it in their day-to-day. And we need you to help empower everyone. And that's what I'm here for today. Today is a new day for data. It's a new day for the analytical consumers, where we need to engage with these consumers in a meaningful experiences, close the insights to action loop, and help them drive business outcomes with data. It's a new day for developers. We need to enable you to take data and put it everywhere. And we're going to talk a lot about that today. And anywhere people need data to make decisions. It's a new day for IT. We need to empower the IT professional to connect to any data and create a single source of truth so that everyone can trust their data. And it's a new day for the analyst. We need to continue to make Tableau easy and powerful. We need to remove the burrs and keep it in the flow. You'll see us double down on our core community and make it more successful than ever. We've been making many strides in taking your feedback back into the product. It's a huge focus for our product portfolio. And we are just getting started. And we're going to need your help because the impact to use data is greater than ever before. Today, we'll talk about our latest innovations and how that'll help move our mission forward. And first, I want to give an overview of our developer platform. And we'll also show you how to embed data everywhere to make it an analytical application. We'll be bringing in some of our product management team to give demo. Of course, we're a developer, right? We want to see some code. We want to see some demos. That's exciting. We'll have that. And finally, and my most favorite thing, showing you the art of the possible when building on top of our platform. All right, let's get into it. Let's kick it off with the developer platform. All right, here's an overview of the developer platform. Here are our 5 pillars that we have. And you can see here we have connect, extend, advanced analytics, embed, automate, the whole top to bottom stack of the Tableau ecosystem, in every way to plug into that system. And every year, we're opening up that black box that was originally created as Tableau to make it open for all of you. We have initiatives inside of the company to make drive API first initiatives so that hopefully when you see UI facing experiences, the API is first or comes shortly thereafter. We're very excited and pushing that very heavily with inside of our product and engineering team. So we'll go over a quick few of each one of these things. So connect, we have a web data connector where you can grab REST API endpoints, We can also grab files like Parquet inside of there. Really cool advancements in the web data connector space. I know some of you may have experience with web data connectors. We're going to go from 2 to 3 here. And there's some deprecation news in the world there. So if you're not paying attention, go check that out. We also have our connector SDK, where we can build a connector into the platform, JDBC, ODBC, and that web data connector actually moves right into that SDK, which is really exciting. And really great Hyper API. We got to talk about that later. Moving over to Extend, where we'll talk about the embedded API, a big focus. We'll talk about that in a second. Dashboard extensions. A lot of our partners have experience creating and extending the dashboard, really creating action from the dashboard. Advanced analytics. Any of those data scientists out there, Python integration, R integration. We've been making amazing strides in writing Python right inside of Tableau. Super exciting. And obviously embedding is a huge focus for us. We'll talk a lot about that in a few minutes. And automate all the things, right? For any of you Tableau server admins out there, we got some great sessions for you today as well. Anything with the REST API, moving things around, the metadata API, whether you want to grab lineage or see how everything is mapping back to your data source. Big focus on automating the platform. And then I'll talk quickly about the developer program itself. So you can sign up for the platform, and there were some questions a little bit earlier about how to get access to some of these things. Tableau.com/developer or developer.tableau.com is a little bit easier to get to. Either way, lands you to the same place. You get free access to a Tableau cloud development site, which is fantastic. Free. I almost think it might be the only free thing on the Tableau platform, so go take advantage of that. Early access to APIs, communities, hackathons. You'll find me, all of our product team in Slack or on the forums. We'll get exclusive invites to sprint demos, newsletters. There's a lot of things going on in the program, and we'd love to have you on board. And lastly, you get access to a Slack, our Slack workspace, a DataDev workspace. And there's a channel in there right now where we're chatting as well. So feel free to sign up for the program if you're interested. A lot of benefits when you sign up. All right. Moving along. So I said earlier how we are on a mission to have everyone see and understand their data. And we can't accomplish that mission without you. We want to turn every application into an analytical application. We want to infuse data into the world around us. Maybe not totally the metaverse, but I could think of things that some of you seen from, we came out with that TC, where we're in a screencast like this. We can grab data and move it on. These are the analytical apps that we want to create, and you are going to help us get there. We should be infusing data everywhere. And here are some of the things that we're going to show you how to do that. In fact, 90% of CDOs intend to use their data to improve customer experiences. Not internal use case, customer experiences. We are seeing more and more of our customers use data as a differentiator, and monetization can take many forms. We are building new ways for you to take Tableau, the leading analytical capabilities, and build them into your products and your applications. We have done a lot with Tableau embedding analytics. More and more organizations want to use their data as an asset and embed it in all types of applications. This past year, we doubled down on embedding efforts. We have our new embedding API that easily allows you to embed interactive dashboards, full web authoring experience, metrics, ask data. We're continually updating the embedding API. And we have Ewald, one of our product managers, who I'll introduce in a second here, who runs that, owns that space, and he'll be happy to chat with you about this. We also introduced connected apps so that you get a seamless seamless and secure authentication between Tableau and your application. There was a huge problem to exist there where you don't want to authenticate from one to the other, back, forward. Connected Apps is going to solve that problem. But there's more. The Tableau Embedding Playground is a developer preview that gives you an easy, seamless experience to get easily set up with embedded analytics in just a few minutes. Ewald's going to talk a little bit about this. We've launched ephemeral users, which centralizes user identity and access management, so you don't have to maintain two different sources of truth. And this feature is even made more powerful with the launch of on-demand access, a new payment model where you only pay for what you use, making it easy to scale up or scale down your data applications. And I could not be more excited to tell you about some of the new capabilities that we have with our data or embedded capabilities. And if you guys haven't seen what came out at TC, I could not be more excited about this one. Tableau VizQL Data Service. With the VizQL Data Service, you can pop the hood and access the magic of Tableau's analytical engine. Every time you create a dashboard, if you're a Tableau user, you're hitting VizQL. It's the thing that made Tableau special. You might know this concept as headless BI or compostable analytics. Essentially, what we're doing is decoupling Tableau visualizations, the front end, from the core VizQL backend. We're giving you a simple programmatic interface that allows developers to put the power of Tableau into any kind of experience they can imagine. Maybe you want to build a completely new interaction experience that's not about drag and drop. Or you want to integrate insights from Tableau into your automated business workflow. Or maybe you want to create a chatbot that interacts with your analytics in Tableau. You can do all of this with VizQL Data Service. The possibilities are endless. And now you can truly unleash your creativity and bring Tableau anywhere you're making decisions. I'm super excited to see what you all do with this service. So, enough of me talking. We need to get to some code, right? This is a developer event after all. So, I'd like to finally introduce Ewald. Ewald, how are you doing this morning?
I'm doing great, Kevin. Thank you. So
Thanks
let me share my. Can you hear me?
Yep. Go ahead.
Let me share my screen, and let's get started. So what you see over here is a typical portal that wants to add some analytical content. So everything on this portal is just HTML. And then these two white boxes actually contain Tableau content. They have the look and feel of the application, but you get the power of Tableau. And you cannot only embed the visualization, you can also add interactions to it. So for example, you can switch between monthly and quarterly, and you can change the filter. And when you change the filter, that filter is not a Tableau filter. It is a filter that has the look and feel of your own application. And it applies the filter to both of those visualizations. And so let's take a look how you would do this. You need to create some code. But what code do you need to use? That is where the playground comes into play. So this is the latest version of what we have internally that will be available to you later this year. And what you can see over here is that you can start with a sample viz. This is a public workbook that you can just try out if you have if you don't have your own Tableau content or just want to see what is possible. But for this, we're going to use the Tableau URL. In this Tableau URL, we're going to use the viz top right. And when I go to Tableau, you see this is the Tableau portal. You see this visualization called top right. And so I can now run it. You see it over here, but I don't like this toolbar. How do I get rid of this toolbar? That's easy. Go to the customize display, change the toolbar location to hidden. It refreshes itself and now has no toolbar. We saw the interactions on the website, right, in the Cumulus Bank portal, where you could switch between monthly and quarterly. When we take a look in the visualization, there's a parameter called show by. This parameter is changing between month and quarter, and there's some logic inside the workbook that changes how it looks. So how do you set the parameter value of show by to quarter? Well, let's take a look at the playground again. In here, we have interactions. Parameters are an entity of the workbook. So we go to parameters and we drag this card inside your JavaScript window. Let's make this small. This is not necessary. And then when you look over here, it is still a preview, right? This is the parameter value, not the parameter name. We'll fix it. In here, I can change the value to quarter. And the name of the parameter is show by. So if I run now the code, you will see that the viz is changing from monthly to quarterly. That is how you can build that embedding. And we have a lot of those snippets available. If you want to do filters, and there's the filter. I can apply a filter and change the region, or I can change the date if I have a range filter. That is how easy it is to get your interactions going. But we have more. So when you look over here, one of the pages in this bank is to find your local banks. We have knowledge of the user. We know in which state the user resides. And so if we are going in as Francois, we would like to see the Seattle branches because he lives in near Seattle. But if we go in as Lola, who lives in Las Vegas, we should show the branches available in Nevada. So how do you do this? That is where connected apps come into play. So I selected the branch locations. And in here, you can configure your connected app. Connected app is the way to bring single sign-on to your application. I provided the 3 secrets. Which user we're going to use to log in Tableau. And then we have the user attribute functions. And with the user attribute functions, currently is set to Washington. If I change it to Nevada and run the code, then it shows only the branches of Nevada. And how do we do this? This is the workbook that you just saw. We have a calculated field in here that we used at the filter shelf. And in here, ignore what is here on the bottom, that is just debug code. But over here, it says the user attribute. So what is the value of the user attribute state? And only show the data that is equal to the state that is in your data set. So this is a way how you can create personalized experiences or apply data security. And we have a lot of features out there like dynamic access titles and dynamic zones to even personalize their experience further. And last, what I wanted to mention is when you go in the Cumulus Bank, we have also an authoring experience. You can bring the full power of Tableau to your embedded users, and you can just start dragging your data just like you are in Tableau, and you can give that to your end users. How do you do this? That is simple again. In your playground, you can change the viz to an authoring mode. You'll see in the HTML that we changed from Tableau viz to Tableau authoring viz. And that is all that is needed to create an authoring experience to your audience. So that is enough about the playground. Kevin also mentioned VDS. So what is VDS? VDS is an API where you can give some information, what data source do I want to use, what dimensions and what measures, what filters, right? All of the information that you typically pass to the query service through the Tableau UI. You cannot pass that same information through to the REST API. And if I execute that query, I get a table back at the right level of the dimension. The right level of detail. And so in this case, I get the detail of category. If I want more details, I just add another dimension called subcategory. And if I run this query now, I get a second field at that level of detail. And this opens up a lot of capabilities. In the Cumulus Bank, when we run our VDS query, we can check if a person has spent a lot on food, for example. And in this case, Francois has spent a ton of money on food. And so we run the VDS query, and we can, for example, give him a promotion because he spent so much. This is powered by VDS. So that was a quick peek, Kevin, into what is available with the developer playground to create your embedded code and to use VDS to make your data-driven actions. I must note that the playground is available in early access, so you can start using it only with the public viz. After summer, shortly after summer, we plan to release the GA of the playground, which has all the capabilities that I just showed you. VDS will not ship until summer next year, so that you need to wait a little bit longer for this goodie. Back to you, Kevin.
Thank you, Ewald. All right. Switch back to slides here. Just want to leave that up here for a second for the folks that want to grab those links there. We'll also be providing a lot of these throughout the day here and in the Q&A and on the chat. So you'll be able to find these after the fact as well. So don't worry, we'll definitely get you all the information on where to get to the playground and test that out. And early access on the VDS. We could not be more excited what you guys are all going to build with the VizQL data service. All right, so we talked about the platform and how we're embedding data anywhere. Now we want to share some amazing experiences that we've collaborated with Google on about the art of the possible for using the Tableau platform. And I missed my slide clicks here, so we'll go a little bit quicker here. And our slides are a little bit out of order, but that's okay. I'd like to introduce Takashi Binns. Tak, are you there?
Hey, Kevin, how's it going this morning?
I'm doing great, Tak. How are you?
Doing well. Nice to meet everyone. Some of you might have seen me before, but I'm a partner engineer on Kevin's team. I've been at Tableau for almost 5 years. September will be 5 years for me. So I think they give you a little prize, like the more years you stay there. I think this year will be a surfboard. And actually the surfboards get bigger the longer you've been there. So
yeah, I think there's definitely like there's definitely a surfboard that's like a surfboard. I got the
like a full-sized rideable surfboard. Yeah.
I got mine in the back here.
Yeah. So anyway, yeah, it's my job basically to work with our partners on anything technical, right? Like if you're trying to create an integration with Tableau in some way, maybe you're using the embedding API or the web data connector framework or Hyper API, and you have questions, if you email like developer@tableau.com, like those generally come to our team and we help with that. What I want to talk to you about today, though, is something called Google Smart Chips. This is actually a brand new feature from Google. It was supposed to be released today, but I didn't get any emails, so I don't think it is. But coming soon, probably next week or so, it's basically a way of adding like URL unfurling into Google Docs. So if you have like a link, you can just copy and paste the link into something, and it'll give you the option of give me some more info on that, whatever that link goes to. So we thought, hey, this is a great opportunity to embed some content from Tableau into Google Docs. So that's kind of what we did. Let me show you real quick how this works, because everything is better when you see it. Hopefully this screen share works. It worked a little while ago, so I'm hoping it still works. Cool. So let's say you're writing a Google Doc about something. And, here this is about web traffic analysis. And you can see, oh, we've, engagement has gone up by 25%, blah, blah, blah. But you want to link back to the source, right? If somebody has a question about like, well, 25%, is that across everything? Like maybe it breaks down in different ways. It's really easy to, link back to the underlying dashboard that, you actually did the analysis on. So for example, I could say, I'll just start typing in here, more details can be found on and then I just go to my Tableau dashboard. It's kind of a dummy dashboard here, but I just copy the link in the header, paste, and you see this section here. As soon as I paste in the URL, Google Docs is figuring out, hey, wait a minute, this is a URL that we know about, right? It matches based on a pattern. So we can basically check to say, hey, if your URL has online.tableau.com and it links to a viz, we can probably show that viz. So it's prompting me to hit tab to replace the text of the link with a smart chip. Sometimes you'll see it called preview links. Smart chip, preview links, Google kind of flip-flopped on the name. But you can see now, instead of having that long URL that no one really cares about, now it just gives me actually the title of the viz. And it's nice and smooth. It's got the little Tableau logo in there. It looks like a little chip. And if I hover over this, let's scroll down to have a little more room. You can see it's giving me some metadata about the dashboard, right? The name of the dashboard, when it was last updated, and then an image showing that dashboard. And I can actually click here, and it'll take me right to the dashboard as well. So it's just a way to make the analytics you do stickier in other applications like Google Docs. So you might be wondering, how does this work? So let me stop sharing here and go to the next slide, because I figured this is a little easier to see in the deck, and that way, if you are curious, you can always take a look at the deck later. But basically, this is the architecture of what's really happening. So on the left, there is a little Google Docs logo. That's the entry point, right? I copied and pasted a link. Google Docs recognized that link based on the URL pattern, and it basically calls a cloud function. So the cloud function takes that URL, and we can take some information from that URL, right? We know the name of the site, because that's in the URL. We know the name of the workbook and the viz, because those are both in there too. If it's a custom view, like we know the ID of that custom view, because that's in the URL as well. And we can use that information to make REST API calls to Tableau Cloud and get some, one API call to get, some info about the viz itself. Like who made this viz? When was it last updated? What's the name of it in Tableau? And then a second to actually fetch an image of that viz. And then we can just put that, collect the information we get from Tableau Cloud via the REST API, and then package it up and send it back to Google. Now, the way they want it back is in a JSON format. They basically take this big giant JSON structure and they convert it into their cards framework. So that's how you see it look and feel like a Google product, is because they asked us to return it as a card in JSON. You might also notice that I didn't have to authenticate in order to copy and paste the link in. It just kind of did it all on its own behind the scenes. The way that works is we actually have some stuff in the back where you can we set up a web app where a Tableau admin can actually go and use connected apps. You heard Ewald talk about it a little earlier. Connected apps are a way to basically provide access to something, whether it's embedded or through REST APIs. You can kind of define what the scope of that is. But the concept is you create a connected app on your Tableau Cloud site. You grant it access to be able to make REST API calls, and then you pass that information to us through our web app. We store it on the back end in Google's Firestore, which is like a document database. And then the cloud function can just look up, like, hey, what are the connected app details for this site based on the URL? So that's how we're authenticating into Tableau Cloud, which means when you first go to install this add-on, you do have to an admin does have to set it up. But as soon as that one-time setup is done, then every other user on that site can just start using it and copy and pasting links, and it'll authenticate as the given user. So it does respect permissions and security when it does create all this. So that's a quick overview of this example. If you have any questions about that or want to see more about it, we'll actually be talking a little bit more later on the Hyper API. One thing we realized as we're putting this together is that, hey, it would be cool if we figured out how many people use this thing, what types of, is it the same group of list of users that are using it, or is it a whole bunch of different users from the same company using it? What sites are most active with it? So we wanted to send that telemetry data to Tableau Cloud as well, and kind of like an internal tracking site. So we did build in some cloud functions to actually create hyper extracts and push them over to Tableau. We'll have a whole session on that a bit later in this afternoon. But yeah, that's a good overview of the solution we worked on.
Tak, we do have some questions in here. Is this possible on Tableau Server?
So currently, no, it's not possible on Tableau Server. I mentioned earlier that the way that Google picks up on the URL to know that it's a smart chip is that it recognizes a pattern. So for Tableau Cloud, super easy. We have an easy pattern, right? Online.tableau.com is always going to be in the URL. Tableau Server can be named whatever you want it to be. So I'm not saying it's impossible to set this up. You would basically have to kind of create your own implementation of this, which we are looking at. But yeah, it's a limitation on the URL pattern. Like we have to know what your Tableau server is called, because you could call it whatever you like. So there's no way for us to kind of do a catch-all for everyone. So currently, V1, this will be for Tableau Cloud only.
We got, would it work with public?
It wasn't designed to work with Tableau Public, but that's an interesting use case. The funny thing is that it doesn't have to authenticate at all. So in that scenario, we could change a couple things to say if the URL matches Tableau Public, then just skip the whole auth process and make the REST API calls needed. So it's not set up to work that way now, but if there's interest in that, that could be something we look at.
Yeah, reach out to us. We have your question here, so maybe we'll reach back out to you. And this is a good one, actually. What's the refresh cadence on the tooltip?
Yes, so there's actually a couple factors here. One is on the Google side, they do caching, right? So if I hover over the tooltip, it'll make the API call, fetch the image, and return it. And then I believe it's a couple of minutes that it'll cache the results of that. So even if you hover back over like 10 seconds later or a minute later, it might not necessarily make the API call to Tableau. It'll just remember, like, hey, you just looked at this. Image is probably pretty similar. So there's the Google caching on that side. That's, I think, a couple of minutes. And then on the Tableau server side or Tableau Cloud side, we do also have caching as well, right? So if you make the same API call twice, like back to back, it's not going to like re-render the image. It'll just send it back to you faster. So there's a couple different refresh times. I know that's a configurable setting on Tableau server. I can't remember if there's a setting like that on Tableau Cloud. But yeah, it is a couple of minutes.
All right. And then someone asked
and yes, I do see a question about setup and installation and stuff. That will all be included when you go to install. There will be a link to say, hey, here's the admin setup documentation. It's not yet on the marketplace because the feature is not yet GA from the Google side, but we are targeting end of month for when that'll appear. So the workflow is you go into Google Docs, you go to the marketplace. I think the button is called get or manage add-ons, and you can search for Tableau. It'll be there, and when you do go to install it, it'll also prompt you to set it up.
And on the doc side of the house, we're going to release some documentation on the help.tableau.com to enable y'all to get it up and running. Thank you for the question, Lucas. And then we got one more that I wanted to address. This feature work with OneNote. Jill, unfortunately not. This is very specific to Google, but I do want to say, and I think this is a great segue here, this is something that has no internal development. We changed nothing. Sure, we have access to product teams and we ask many questions of engineers and product teams, but we did not change anything in the code to make this happen. So anyone could build something like this, and this is the point, showing you the art of the possible with the Tableau platform. Tak, this was fantastic. Thanks for showing us off, and excited to see your session later today.
Looking forward to it.
Okay. Look at my slides here. So you heard a lot about today about the developer platform. You heard how we're focused on allowing you to put data anywhere. We're talking a lot about the art of the possible all day long with fantastic community presentations, real use cases in the wild. We have our fantastic representatives from JPMC who have been longtime Tableau customers, have implemented some amazing community of excellence there at JPMC. We're super excited to hear from them. Next up is Anya, who's been an amazing DataDev ambassador. We're very excited to hear from her. And if there are further questions that people would like me to answer right now, we can get to you in here, or you can ask them in the chat. I'm happy to answer them. There are a few that I can answer now. Yeah, again, we talked a little bit about how to get access to the developer specific, developer.tableau.com, best place to go get information. Someone asked a question about if your data is in Salesforce only, is Tableau a good solution, or dashboards? So there's a few different ways to recognize data inside of Salesforce. And I know this question's been answered, but I wanted to put it out there for everyone. So the idea here is that, yes, there are some applications inside of Salesforce that allow you to visualize data natively. We're also coming out with a native a connector to Salesforce right within there. So we are constantly making access to data inside of Salesforce to Tableau better. So it depends a little bit on your use case, but Tableau can be an excellent visualizer for your Salesforce data, but as well as natively on the platform. So it really depends on the use case of the enterprise or in the business for what works with you.
Hey, Kevin, let me just make one extra comment there. One thing to consider when you're debating, like, hey, I know there's multiple ways to access my data and do analytics on it when it's in Salesforce. Typically, when Tableau connects to Salesforce, we're going to pull the data out and create an extract file. And then it'll work really fast, but we're creating an extract. Versus if you're using something like CRM analytics, or if you're using reports and dashboards, they don't really have to move the data anywhere, right? So it kind of depends. A big factor is whether, like, how live your analytics need to be. If it's like right up to the second, then I would say leave your data where it is and then do your analytics in Salesforce. If maybe you're taking that data out to combine with some data in another platform, Tableau is a great great use case for that. So just something to keep in mind.
One of the questions we have, is there anything coming up related to prep? I'm assuming that means in maybe here, but yes, we have a lot of product innovation that went on with prep. If you subscribe to Tableau Conference, there's a ton of content that we had there for prep. We won't go into the details of the roadmap there, but yes, we are still heavily invested in prep, especially on the connectivity or like export, import, output side. So connectivity into data cloud from prep or right to database technologies out. So prep is still heavily in the portfolio. Definitely something we are active development on. All right. So we're coming up here at the break point here. I just want to say thank you. Thank you for spending the first hour of the day. We have plenty of content for the rest of the day. Coming up next is Anya, and then we're going to a quick break. And we will have the ambassador application. So we just opened applications for our ambassadors. So that is our community where you recognize as a leader in the community. And that application process just opened. We'll post a slide here in a second. And we will, here we go. There it is. If you'd like to nominate someone or nominate yourself, it says applications close on July. I read June. I was like, that's over now. July 14th. So we got a month here where you can nominate ambassadors, Tableau ambassadors. And with that, I think we're going to take a quick break here. And coming up next will be Anya.